Tornadoes are one of the deadliest forces of nature on Earth. There are around 1,200 tornadoes reported in the US every single year, almost all of them causing pain, death, and devastation in their wake. Some of those tornadoes can reach wind speeds of over 200 miles per hour, and between 1875 and 2011, over 550 US citizens have been killed by tornadoes. So to be caught in the middle of an active tornado and survive is almost a miraculous feat. Matt Suter is the lucky recipient of one such miracle. Matt Suter was a regular 19-year-old high school senior living in Fordland, Missouri during 2006. On March 12th of that same year, Matt would experience a living nightmare and be lucky to live to tell the tale. He was in a trailer watching TV with his grandmother and uncle when a nightmarish 150-mile-an-hour twister advanced on their position. Typically, if this was happening to you, your best course of action would be to crouch into a crash position and pray to your deity of choice. But Matt hardly even had time to think before all hell broke loose. He was about to understand the plight of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz a whole lot better. When recounting the terrifying ordeal, Matt said that he heard the approaching tornado getting louder and louder, comparing its noise to 10 military jets flying directly at him all at once. The pressure in the mobile home suddenly increased to almost crushing levels as the front and back doors were abruptly ripped off their hinges. Matt said that he could literally see the entire trailer moving under the sheer force of the tornado, even comparing the way the walls quivered from the pressure to jello. This all happened so fast that Matt and his grandparents didn't even realize that a tornado was what they were dealing with. Seconds later, the top of the trailer was torn off like a tin of sardines, and Matt was sucked into the tremendous force of the twister, his screams drowned out by the roar of the intense wind. He was carried away into the darkness of the night toward what seemed like certain death, while his family could only watch in terror from below. The trailer was completely leveled by the incident, burying Matt's grandmother and uncle underneath the rubble. Thankfully, both of them survived with only minor injuries, but they feared the worst for Matt. They saw him carried off into the sky, and most people who undergo that kind of experience don't come back. Linda Kelly, Matt's grandma, wanted to find him, but she was understandably terrified of finding her grandson dead in the aftermath of the twister. But she was wrong to fear. Matt Suter was carried over 1,300 feet, that's 4 football fields in case you had trouble picturing it, by the tornado, before being deposited in the soft grass of an open field. The only injury sustained being a gash on his head from being hit by a flying lamp. He was otherwise, against all odds, completely and utterly intact. When he got up, Matt realized that he'd just been spat out by a tornado, and he made the fair assumption that his grandma and uncle had been killed in the incident. So he immediately ran to his friend's house to seek help. Meanwhile, his grandma and uncle searched for him. Shortly after, Matt and his family reunited in a reunion as heartwarming as it was statistically improbable. Suter's physician, Dr. Ron Buning, remarked that Matt was the luckiest man alive to have survived the incident with only a superficial head wound and some abrasions on the undersoles of his feet. What's even more insane is that because this whole incident transpired in the middle of the night, Matt Suter underwent the whole disaster only wearing his boxer shorts. While he thankfully didn't break any bones, Matt did actually break a world record for his trouble. To this day, Matt Suter holds the record for farthest distance survived in a tornado. The runner-up, in case you're curious, was a 9-year-old girl in Bodle, South Dakota. On July 1, 1955, she and her horse were picked up by a tornado and deposited unharmed 1,000 feet away. That's still around 307 below Matt's record, so for now, his crown is safe. Matt Suter was incredibly lucky to survive being thrown such a massive distance by a tornado, but while his physical injuries have healed, Matt was understandably traumatized by the incident. I mean, who wouldn't be? He has since reported having repeated nightmares about the incident and finds memories of the night consistently occupying his thoughts. He also found the sudden fame of his new record holder status was a little overwhelming, with his phone blowing up with texts and calls after the incident. Matt, a humble and soft-spoken guy, didn't feel suited to all the new attention. Describing his final thoughts on the whole experience, Matt said, "I've always told my girlfriend I wanted to see a tornado, but I sure didn't want to be in one." Matt has since returned to normal life, counting himself lucky for getting another chance. His stated intention after the incident was finishing high school and then joining the United States Marine Corps. If he did indeed follow that ambition, he certainly has one crazy story to share with his fellow Marines. Thanks for watching this episode of The Infographic Show. Want to hear even more crazy stories of people surviving against all odds? Why not check out How Did an 11-Year-Old Survive a Plane Crash and Climb Down a Mountain? and insane way a man survived 76 days lost at sea, and other incredible survival stories. In the meantime, don't mess with twisters. You probably won't be as fortunate as Matt Suter.